This is Australia Square in the centre of Sydney. High up on the 47th floor is one of Sydney's most iconic and longest running restaurants. Originally called the Smit restaurant, it opened 51 years ago in 1968 and boasts a revolving restaurant that takes you around Sydney in 105 minutes. Today it is O Bar and Dining, owned by Michael Moore, and is still revolving, still has some of the best views and still draws the crowds for its innovative menu. Mark Smit is the restaurant manager at O Bar and Dining. Mark has graduated in hospitality and management in the Netherlands and has worked in Washington DC, in London and at Momofuku in Sydney before joining O Bar and Dining 2 years ago. Mark, welcome to G&M.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're a food service professional and we hear a lot today about the problems with service in Australia and that there are not enough service professionals. How can we address this need?
Yeah, I believe, it is always a challenge. It's I see that in my team as well. There's lots of internationals here. There's lots of people still learning about the craft of it, I believe. I believe you need to have a real passion for it. Like it's a challenging industry. Is lots of working hours, and in Australia as well, with so many restaurants around. People are still challenging to find the good professionals. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And we see a lot of publicity about celebrity chefs, obviously helped along by programs like MasterChef. Do you ever think that front of house will gain the same level of notoriety?
Yeah, I wish. I mean, you see it a little bit more with sommeliers, I believe. They have obviously studied for a very long time. They are even more passionate about their wines, about their beverages that they match with the food from the chefs. Coming down one step to the managers and the professionals and the real servers that are touching the tables. It's hard to get them in the spotlight, but obviously they deserve a lot of praise for what they do as well, because they deliver the message that is being done in the kitchen and that's being done behind the bar when they deliver the a la carte service, correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
And poor service can often ruin a really good meal, so it's really important to get it right.
Absolutely, yeah. There's so many things that can go wrong, and believe me, sort of working in a restaurant like this where it's revolving as well, there's a lot of challenges that come with the job. Yeah.
Obviously, as a feature restaurant in the Sydney CBD, you must have to cater for a very wide range of tastes, and both with locals and tourists. And on any one evening, you can have functions and events and walk-ins. How do you manage that from a front of house point of view?
Yeah. I'm going back to this challenging aspect again, because it's a very large restaurant here. We do have function areas. We have a private dining room, which is fantastic. You got obviously the views are very nice. We do cater for 2 courses, 3 courses, but we also do degustations here. And what you mentioned with dietary requirements, like you see it more and more. Like there's more vegetarians and vegan is very up and coming, which we have introduced in our menu a couple of years ago, and it's very popular. Like you can even see with people that are not even vegan or vegetarian, they're just mixing that with their normal menu choice. So they would choose a vegan entree, then they would go for a steak for main course. So it's it is interesting, and then you got the nut free, the dairy free, the gluten free, all of that. But we are very much prepared for that. We are very much it's integrated in our system, and we've got allergy sheets ready for all the staff to know, and just to prevent any obstacles for the guests to enjoy when they ask for special attention needed. Yeah.
How do you handle those odd problem customers? Do you have to deal with difficult people at times?
Yeah, of course. Are you referring to like the dietary requirements? Or?
Well, just generally. Yeah.
Generally, yeah. Look, they want to be heard, so they want to be heard. So there's a lot of patience that comes with it. So you're coming to the table and you're addressing the problem. You try to hear them out, and there's a lot that can be done. Like they are still there on the night, and they still want to have a fantastic experience, and they still want to enjoy their night with their loved ones, with their family, with their business associates, whatever that may be. You can speak to the chef, you can speak to the bartender, you can you know, change the waiter on the table, whatever they would prefer that needs to be done. You know, like you can do so many things, but there's no certain script for any specific problem. You just have to address the situation and feel what is best on at that specific moment. Yeah.
So you have to be very, very diplomatic, obviously. Yes.
It is, yeah. Yeah, it is a little bit of a diplomatic affair sometimes, but that's the challenge about it, and that's what I enjoy. You know, there's no day that is the same in hospitality. There's always new guests, and there's always new things coming into on the menu, on the market. There's different types of occasions. Like yesterday we had Melbourne Cup. There's birthday celebrations, anniversaries, big corporate functions. You know, so yeah, there's no day is the same, and that is what I enjoy about running a team in such a restaurant like this.
And are there any specific challenges of running a revolving restaurant on a 47th floor?
Yeah, for sure, because as you can see, it's like it's a large space. It's a donut-shaped restaurant. There's no specific point where I can see the entire floor, where I can see all the guests. Mm-hmm. So it is a little bit about just observing the floor throughout the night and speaking to your floor staff and making sure that everyone is having a good time. So you're touching your tables. You ask, is everyone enjoying their time on the night, and with the front of house as well. Like there's lots of different departments that just need to work well together. You know, it's all about teamwork and efficient and effective service. And I believe we're doing a very good job at that here. Yeah.
And the kitchen obviously stays still in the middle of the restaurant. How do you manage where the tables are as they're running around you?
Correct. Yeah. For the first new staff members that always come to work here, one of the first lessons they learn is that the kitchen is always across from the Harbour Bridge. So if you have that in your mind, then like, okay, I'll look outside, I'll look for the Harbour Bridge, and that's where the kitchen is. So they obviously the newcomers, they also need to orientate themselves with this shape of this restaurant. But it is, everyone always talks about speed of service, and that is another challenge that you have with a revolving restaurant, with a large restaurant like this. So coming back to that teamwork and that efficient service, that is what we strive to optimize. Just getting that drink to the table as soon as possible, getting that food, getting the food order coming on time as well, and that is another challenge that comes with it. Yeah.
And what advice would you give to a young person starting out in food service today?
My advice would probably be, it all comes with time. There's lots of experience that you need to gain, because you can't learn that through books or through people seem to watch like a lot of TV shows about whatever there's going on at the moment, but just experience different tastes around the world, different cuisines. Working in Holland, working in London, working in America, it's completely different than what you have here. There's a big Asian influence as well here, both from clientele and from the cuisine, from the culinary aspects. And Darren is very good in incorporating that in the Australian cuisine as well. And I believe, you just work in different positions in different restaurants, do a little bit of the bar side, do a little bit of the waiting on the tables. Like, you also have to work in the kitchen, you have to run the food, you have to understand what you're serving, and you have to take all that with you, and then you can become a true professional in the industry. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome. Thank
Thank
you.
you.